Okay, so you see this guy right here? If I ask you who he is, what would your answer be? You know him as Uzumaki Naruto, right? As an anime fan, when you hear Naruto, what comes to mind? Your answer might be along the lines of the orange-colored knuckle-headed ninja who wanted to be Hokage so that everyone will acknowledge him. And in the end, he achieved this goal with his wits and never give up attitude. An amazing story, which is an integral part of my life. What if I told you that Naruto wasn't about ninjas in the first place? What if I told you Naruto had a story which was far different from the one we know? What if I told you there was a Naruto story, a story you never knew? So, I was perusing the Apple bookstore and I came across this book, Naruto Retrospective. On the cover it reads, Celebrate the Legend. We can see both kid and adult Naruto on the covers. The book contained chapter favorites from editors from the Naruto story, which we already know from Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. But the last chapter was different. It contained a story, a familiar story yet unfamiliar. This story was Naruto, the pilot chapter. The concept which was later changed into the Naruto we know and love. This is probably one of the first free drafts by Masashi Kishimoto before we got the iconic Naruto story. So, let's dive in. Sanin region, Mount Oinari. A voice is heard throughout the mountains scolding Naruto. A blonde boy kneels over him and taunts him. The man sheepishly tries to convince the boy to help him. He extends his hands to help the poor man, but slaps it away before it could make contact. See, this is why everyone calls you a monster. The boy doesn't take this comment lightly and pisses on the man. Our young man is Uzumaki Naruto. In ancient times, there was a fox spirit with 9 tails. Just one swing of those tails could level a mountain or cause a tsunami. 9 warriors gathered together to stop the 9-tailed fox. These 9 warriors risked their lives to seal the fox spirit away forever. But only 1 warrior survived. Naruto gets scolded by this older Gao chief who was then changed to become the 3rd Hokage that we know and love. He tells Naruto humans and yokai need to live together in peace. He needs to make friends. Naruto retorted back by saying he doesn't have friends either. And he claimed that all his friends were killed by Naruto's father, whom I assumed is also a yokai. I'm unclear of the situation because the old man looks like he's a yokai too, seeing his appearance and all. But Naruto was spared due to the fact that they took pity on him. He was a baby fox after all. Naruto tries to escape this lecture but turns into a bat and fly away. But the old priest stopped him, not wanting him to become like his father, abusing his jutsu. He then gives him a task to go into the village to make a friend he can really trust and bring him back as evidence. The chief wanted Naruto to learn trust, which Naruto seems to lack due to the way he gets treated. But if he could make a friend whom he trusts, maybe life would be worth living after all. So, Naruto was not to return back to the village till the task is done. Get this. Naruto then enters the city with his motorcycle. Naruto had a motorcycle in this story, bro. And the city actually looks modern, far different from the Konoha we come to know and love. He then goes to Itikari Ramen. Bruh, Masashi didn't really change much when writing Naruto. We know this because some things would have always been constant in his story. Moving on, while he chows down on ramen, a guy walks in drunk with his co-worker. He orders a bowl of ramen and passes out. Naruto is then allowed to finish this man's food on the condition that he takes the guy home, but he has to leave his bike behind, not to skip on the payment. He returns the man back to his studio and meets his assistant named Takano Takashi. Naruto is then being shown some of the greatest art in the country. The drunk man then wakes up, the man whom we come to know as Master Kuroda. Unlike Takashi, Kuroda has quite a nasty attitude and even claims Naruto was trying to steal the picture, even though he was the one who brought him home. But he later switches up and decides to have a drink with him. Apparently, he's just a drunk after all. He told Naruto to show him some tricks, leading him to do his trademark sexy no jutsu. But this is not a full transformation. Apparently, he still is always left behind, which creeps out to the artists as they cower in fear. Outside, a strange figure readies his Glock because there are guns in this universe. Imagine Naruto facing someone with a gun and he does his Rasen gun. That's not funny at all. Moving on. Naruto then talks to one of the artists when they calm down about his training to bring back to the mountain a friend who trusts him. Kuroda tells Naruto to give up on this dream because the only one he can ever trust is himself. We then come to find out why he is this way. Apparently, Kuroda was stabbed in the back by his best friend Saburo. After that depressing backstory, Takashi tried to lighten the mood by teaching Naruto a bit about friendship. The painting, however, tells a different story. It was a painting of a newly hatched bed between two trees. The branches laying together symbolizes two hands gripping each other, symbolizing trust. This was Saburo's message to Kuroda before his untimely death. By Naruto shaking Takashi's hand, it's a proof of trust, which means they've created a new friendship. But Naruto found it corny and just ignored it, because he was shy after all. As Naruto slept, Takashi is killed by the assailant. Naruto then wakes up to being charged with Takashi's murder, and when he denies it, the murder weapon is found in his bag. He's also then accused of stealing the painting. He's then arrested for the crime. As he stands outside, he sees Takano Takashi's dead body and begins to feel hurt. He asks them to give him a chance to find the perpetrator, but they don't believe him. Side note, the way Masashi draws the security guard is really sus, and I began to suspect him right away. I'm just saying, just look at this panel, man. Kuroda then thinks of Naruto's reason for being here and decides to do something he hadn't done in the last few years. He decides to put his trust in Naruto and take his place. Naruto is then given a chance to prove his innocence. Kuroda's life is on the line if it doesn't. The more he thinks about the situation, the more scared he gets. A week passes, still no clue has been found. Naruto sits and contemplates if he should just give up and just run away. A group of guys came along who were talking badly about one of their mates called Hiroshi. Naruto overheard this conversation and remembered how badly people talked about him. He soon realizes that he didn't need to work so hard because in the end, people wouldn't trust him all the same. But then one of the guys interjected the conversation, stating that Hiroshi is one of them and always has been. And he then made him see how Hiroshi has always been there for them, causing Naruto to tear up over hearing this conversation. His faith is now restored in humanity. He runs towards Hiroshi and tells him he's jealous of him, then runs off to continue his search. With his renewed spirit, he makes his way back to the city. Naruto's restored faith in humanity was due to him hearing one of the guys defending his friend, which I thought was just tagged on there. It was until one of them came to see his friend's worth, which hit Naruto that there may be some good people in the world, like Takashi and Kuroda. It was obviously put there to progress the story, and overhearing the stranger's conversations shouldn't give Naruto enough motive to go back and save Kuroda. I'm just saying. But in the canon story, it felt more personal. It was an exchange with the people he knew. He failed the Ninja Academy entrance exams and Iruka Sensei scolded him as usual. We came to see that Iruka Sensei might not feel too fondly of Naruto since he was the monster who caused his parents' death after all. So, he is then convinced by Mitsuki to steal the scroll from the Hokage, which he does and learns only one technique from it. Luckily, he was found by Iruka Sensei, but Mitsuki had appeared on the scene, revealing to us that Naruto is the reason for Iruka's parents' death, and that's why Iruka has been so strict on him, making us, the audience and Naruto, believe that Iruka might not like Naruto after all. So, after Naruto runs and hides, Iruka Sensei engages Mitsuki in battle, and then that's where the tutelar scene plays. Iruka Sensei understood that Naruto is worth more than you thought. That's why he was always being so hard on him, so that he gets better. He understood Naruto's pranks and tomfoolery were all just for attention, which he also did as a kid. The Night-Owl Fox might have killed his parents, but he wants to believe in the boy, not the monster who killed his parents. He believes in Naruto, whom, with all his shortcomings, can be a great ninja. This is more powerful in my opinion. It's more personal and holds more stake in the story. Naruto tearing up is no longer treated as a gag, but something really personal because he wanted someone to acknowledge him, and Iruka Sensei, whom he thought hated him for being a monster, actually sees him and probably might understand him more than anyone else, making their victory much sweeter as an introduction to the series. Anyways, enough about that minor nitpick, let's get back to the story. He soon makes his way to the security guard who was on duty that day to ask him some questions. Naruto soon notices something about the security guard. Apparently he has a good sense of smell. He soon found out that he was eating udon noodles, which he offered to Naruto. Naruto then calls him out on his bullshit. He could also smell the scent of the paint preservatives on him. Cut to the next scene, where we see the guard gloating about killing Naruto to his boss, the one who hired him to steal the paintings. It turns out it was Kuroda's friend, Inspector Matsushima. A familiar tail then appeared from behind the guard while he mischievously inquired information. Naruto was revealed to be the guard transformed. Matsushima tries to kill him, and Naruto turns into his true fox form, revealing all his 9 tails as he subdued him. He then presents the perpetrators to the police, where he is met by Kuroda. They go and pay respect to Takashi's grave, while both pondering about the value of trusting others and being someone trustworthy. Naruto then offers his hand to Kuroda as a sign of friendship, which Takashi bestowed upon him. They then shake hands, solidifying their friendship. Unfortunately, he wouldn't be able to follow Naruto to the village, but Naruto doesn't despair because, with his renewed faith in humanity, he decides that there are more people worth exploring. So, that's the end of the story. What do you guys think of it? I personally like the fact that Masashi had the chance to take this concept he originally had and change it to the masterpiece story we know and love. Not to say this story wasn't good, but it lacks that thematic value which differentiates Naruto from the rest. And a change to a more iconic ninja world suited the series infinitely well. In the end, the story feels more like filler, which makes me wonder, did Masashi write some of the filler in the anime? Because it seemed like your standard Naruto filler, but I doubt that since he will be more busy creating the canon material for Shonen Jump. So, what do you guys think of the story of Uzumaki Naruto? The story you never knew. P.S. I phrase it like that because I am a big fan of Tricycle and Bonsai Pop and their Story You Never Knew series, so don't forget to like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. It's just a click and you'll be doing me a huge favor by doing so. Let me know your thoughts on this story that was later scrapped. What do you think about it? Do you like it or do you hate it? Let me know down in the comments. I always thought the original story was kind of basic, but looking at it now, I'm glad Masashi took the time to polish the concept into the one we got. And with that said, always remember to keep moving forward.